fast experience mode on, so that way we're not here all night. Also, we have short Sharlock, meaning once they get to that castle, well, they will just go right on into the basement here. And then there's Chaos Mode, the biggest and notable. The weapon and armor prices are random. Statistics are randomized. Their strength, agility, hit points, gold, and experience, as well as the amount of experience needed to get from one level to the next. And we've got some more goodies going our way. But first, in the throne room, we've got the fairy flute as well as 2 magic keys. So that means one of the overworld search spots will not have an item. It'll be empty. Now we'll see if any of our runners are going to go into the treasury, and it looks like Ryguy's going to give it a go here, as is MisterHomes. So we have another magic key. We also have a torch. We have another torch. Oh no, that's
maybe not.
Oh, the treasure chest glitch. It fooled me again.
Well, there's definitely a torch to be found there, as they did get 2 torches. And I think magic keys. So it looks like 2 torches and 2 magic keys is actually what is sitting there in the... Well, then what an interesting treasury that we have this time around.
Yeah, now the reason that a couple of the treasure chests didn't disappear there, it has to do with a treasure chest glitch, normally known as a gold grind, except there's no gold to be found, and we'll explain more of that in a moment, as in the back of Tanagel Castle is the Rainbow Drop Cave, also known as the Jerk Cave. If you don't have all the items to trade in for the Rainbow Drop, most notably Erdrick's token, he will kick you out of the cave like the jerk that he is. Now, as far as that treasure chest glitch that was going on there, let me go to the overworld map, but due to the limitations of the game, it only tracks up to 8 treasure chests as opened. Then every chest open beyond that, well, can be taken over and over again. And usually it's done by death warping out of a cave and going back into the throne room. In this case, the 3 chests that were taken in the throne room, those counted as 3, our runners in the room and came back in. Once you leave for the first time, it permanently marks those 3 chests as open, so you don't take them over and over again. So that counts for 6. And then when you open 2 of the chests in the treasury, 7 and 8, once you get to that 9th one, you can take it over and over again. And the time that I've explained that, we've got a level over on Ryguy's side, as 105 experience was acquired. And it looks like the Demon Knight was the one that warranted the 105 experience. And some noted spells as well, Radiant, Outside, and Return, and also looks like we've got Heal as well. But I believe that might have been acquired at level 1. Now, what our runners are looking for is what is known as the wet noodle in Chaos Mode, as there's one monster in the beginning 3 zones of the game, the zone around Tanagel Castle, as well as the zones directly north, south, east, and west of the castle, that's guaranteed to have 5 hit points or less. It will also not attack very hard, so the less hit points our players lose when a monster attacks, the more likely it is that it's the low hit point monster. But the challenge is determining which of those 15 potential monsters it could be. And to answer the question in chat, the first kill on Ryguy's side was a Demon Knight. Which it was certainly hitting for more than one, so it wasn't exactly that noodle, but it had a low amount enough hit points. So, yeah, it was enough to get the job done to at least get a little bit of a bonus, and Jackimus also getting up to level 2.
I'm actually not sure if we've even found a noodle so far, but we've definitely found something that can be killed.
Yeah, I believe that was a Drakema in Jackimus's case, giving the 130. And there's another level here for Jack as he's able to take out a Demon Knight. And now that's going to get things rolling here. Yeah, the Demon Knights look to be pretty good, although they don't appear to be the noodle, but having that nice 105 experience, certainly not too shabby. So now Jack able to acquire some keys. Jack decided to go with the option of fighting first and getting enough gold to be able to purchase keys rather than going for the treasure chest glitch to start. Betastrep certainly giving it a go here with the metal scorpion. Kind of going one at a time, although certainly taking more than 5 hit points. So, he is able to take it out for 165 experience. It's a heck of a way to get up to level 2. Make that level 3. And it looks like the target number to level 3, 132 experience. So that Demon Knight falling just short, and now Jack up to level 4. And a wizard running away from the offset. Interesting. Edgeworth, meanwhile, noting that Red Slime might be a Sherlock enemy, and it certainly could be a possibility, as that's a little troublesome. So Betastrep now working on a Star Wyvern, trying to get another kill to gain some experience here. And you see these statistics, certainly a bit of an early climb here, to say the least. And a Droll back attacking MisterHomes, and Holmes opts to reset. Meanwhile, an Armored Knight taking out Ryguy, not nearly hitting as hard as it does in the vanilla version. And Jack trying to get away from the Armored Knight and not having a whole lot of success, but yes, it looks like Hurtmore has been acquired at level 4. So that will allow a lot of opportunities to take out some of the enemies here, and Jack utilizing that to get some exploration done. Oh, and Mr. Holmes had gotten 4 hit points on a wizard before it ran away. And then getting knocked out by a druid. So Ryguy opting not to mess with the slime before running into the red dragon, who's hitting pretty hard. Droll Magi knocking Jackimus out for 19. And Betastrep down to the last heal. Oh, and Wraiths have the spell of Hurt More. Ryguy finding that out the hard way. And Holmes seems to be looking for the wizards, which, based on how often it's been running away, it leads me to believe that it might be the wet noodle enemy, but it hasn't stuck around long enough for us to find out. And to answer a question in chat, what should Holmes be looking for? Well, Holmes has been attempting to go after wizards, which look to be the enemy of choice here, but the other players have gotten onto the board with, a couple of different options. Jackimus first got on the board with taking out a Drakema. Ryguy took out a Demon Knight, and Betastrep went toe-to-toe for a very long time with a Metal Scorpion. Now you see the totals next to the players' names: 16 for Betastrep, 15 for Holmes, 15 for Jackimus, and 14 for Ryguy. That is the number of points that they earned leading into this race, as runners get 5 points for first place, 3 for second, 2 for third place, and 1 for fourth place. And at this point, it looks like 17 seems to be the number to clinch a playoff spot here. So Betastrep looks to be in the catbird seat. Betastrep has already clinched a playoff spot regardless of finish here, but is certainly looking to jump up the ranks in terms of the seedings. And Mr. Holmes taking out a wizard for 47 experience, and it'll be enough to get level 2. 3 power, 2 speed, 1 hit point, a new spell. Well, make it 3 new spells.
Yeah, it looks like Mr. Holmes may have found the fabled wet noodle there in that wizard.
We were kind of speculating, considering that the wizard was running away quite a bit with just 8, with Mr. Holmes only having just 8 strength. So that leads me to believe that it's pretty noodly, I would say. And Ryguy now up to level 4 as is Betastrep, so they all have the benefits of the Hurt More spell. And now level 5 for Jackimus with a nice 12 strength gain. So at this point, given how hard the enemies are hitting, it's kind of a dual purpose of trying to level up a little bit, and at the same time, try to find a town to maybe spend a little bit of money, try to maybe get a better weapon, some armor, maybe get some herbs to be able to heal up. I mean, there's a lot of potential benefits here, but there are also a lot of enemies that, well, they will take you out at every turn, like the Wyvern is with Jack, using the Dragon Lord 2 Breath, or the Wraith Knight over on Mr. Holmes' side. And yes, Lavkey, and I don't even think I could begin to attempt to count the number of deaths that are in this, maybe going back and rewatching the seed later. And well, Wraith Knight was taken out, but for the minimum 4 experience points. So Jack hitting a hurt more on a Star Wyvern and not doing a whole lot. Oh, there it goes. Taken out now for 136 experience, and that's going to be level 6. 7, 6, 7, and 3, the benefits there for Jack. So the Star Wyverns look to be a pretty good enemy to go after. Droll Magi still problematic. Ryguy trying on a Wraith Knight here. Going to find out if he does take it out that it's not ideal. And, yep, 4 experience and 54 gold. Looks like, well, Jackimus is near a town. He takes out a ghost for 250 experience, and we have the somewhat anticlimactic town of Rimeldar. As usually you're looking for it to purchase keys, but our runners have keys already. And now, let's take a look here. Ooh, a half-plate armor for 93. The silver shield for 34 gold. That is the best shield in the game, giving 20 additional defense points. That definitely is the sale of the seed. Get Jim Perry.
It's always nice when you can pick up those silver shields at a very low price.
Well, in the vanilla version of the game, it normally costs 14,800. So, yeah, certainly a rather noted discount. And we have gold in the treasury, or not in the treasury, in the Rimeldar, well, treasure chest, I should say, and that'll allow Jack to go back and purchase a hand axe. And as yes, on the other end of things, the bamboo pole for over 10,000 gold. Normally the, well, it is the weakest weapon in the game, only giving 2 additional attack power to your total.
You know, it's interesting here. We're approaching 20 minutes in, and unlike a few of the other races we've seen, our highest level so far is only level 6, so level's not coming fast and furious this time around.
And chat having a little bit of fun with the quality of the bamboo selling for, it's normally 10 gold, but in this seed it sells for 10,263. It's apparently the, according to Lord of the Synth, the artisanal, free-range, gluten-free, non-GMO organic bamboo pole.
I think I'd rather just go cut a piece of the bamboo I've got here and make a fashion a bamboo pole out of it rather than pay 10,000.
And then the large shield kind of proving useless in this seed, as it has half the defensive power of the silver shield, and it's more than twice the cost. And yes, for the bamboo pole to be that expensive, it was probably made from some of the same material used to make Daniel Bryan's championship belt currently in WWE. It's eco-friendly.
And I see we have a cave on JackimusWedge's side, but we'll not get to explore.
Yes, a rude wyvern taking Jackimus out with the Dragon Lord 2 breath.
We'll certainly be looking forward to seeing those in Sharlock later, I'm sure.
Well, it's hard to say. It's always a roll of the dice, which is kind of what you expect for, something being randomized. But you never know what exactly you're going to get in Sherlock, as sometimes you have high agility enemies, sometimes you have high strength enemies, sometimes you have ones that have all the Dragon Lord breath. And chat noting some comparisons here, as MisterHomes now getting up to level 4, and now is going to get the Hurt More spell, and I'm sure Holmes is as close to doing cartwheels as one can do while playing a game.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, I had a little bit of a chat with the developer of the Random McGrew, and basically each one of the enemies in Chaos kind of gets assigned a value, or a score, if you will, based on what they have. So high HP, high agility, high attack power, having things like Hurt More, Heal More, Dragon Lord Breath, Dragon Breath. Basically, all of those things get assigned a point value, and the enemies with the highest score, so obviously the worst of the worst, are the ones that would then get put into Sharlock. So it allows you to sort of guess what you may have to deal with later in Sharlock based on how tough an enemy was early on while exploring.
Yeah, there is certainly a series of challenges once we get to Sharlock Castle, but note in chat here, as a kind of a devil's advocate to my initial thought here, is that MisterHomes perhaps a little perturbed in that having acquired Hurt More here at this point at 23 minutes in, that maybe other players have gotten it first and are off to the races. So it is a bittersweet feeling being able to see it at level 4, and as we're able to see here, we've got Beta at level 6, Jack at 7. We've got Garen's Grave for Ryguy here. We've got some big bucks, and a fairy water. And Ryguy on limited resources. This should be interesting. Is he going to be able to make it down? Not quite. Blue Dragon taking him out, as Wraith uses Hurt More to take Betastrep out.
And so far, cave exploration being denied.
Well, now another level here for Jack, up to level 8. So certainly the experience lead here. And also having that exploration, getting over to Rimmeldar and being able to purchase quite a bit here. And now Jack finding the Grave of Garen.
And finding Wolflord to run away.
Very brave Wolflords. So 5 treasure chests in the Grave of Garen as now Beta going up to level 7. And Ryguy taken out by another red slime. And, Jackimus slept and wrecked by a Magidraki. There's words I'm not used to saying.
Yeah, the Magidraki had the diet combo there with the baby breath and sleep. And some decent physical damage, too.
Meanwhile, MisterHomes taking out a Druin Lord for 12 experience. Oh, and here's another level for Jack. 5 power, 8 hit points. It looks like 20 magic points, and 0 agility. Go get Empty Eye because he loves it.
And it looks like MisterHomes and Ryguy were possibly... Well, Ryguy looked like he was trying to do a bit of grinding there in that depth.
And now Jack finding a town in the swamp. And it's the town of Garenham. So let's see what we have here. Oh, a broadsword for 17 gold.
It looked like there was a fairly reasonable full plate in there, too. And looks like 2 herbs and a dragon scale, I believe. And Ryguy has found their way to Remolder. And we have the shopping mall of Cantlin, although most of the purchases that one would make will have already been done by Jackimus, but we get at least to find some coordinates here from the old man in the back of Cantlin.
And the trolley NPC. And another wizard for Homes. And we'll see in a moment here what we have as far as the coordinates.
And betastrep getting to level 8 now as well.
No coordinates this time around. So that might have accounted for that fairy flute that was found in the throne room.
Well, that can both be a relief and also a bit of a pain there. Means not having to rescue a princess potentially to go find the overworld item, but now you have to find Cole and Hawksness.
Wow, and level 9 with a huge MP gain, a big 38 special it looked like for betastrep.
And we have a reasonably priced flame sword purchase by Jackimus now. He did leave himself without enough gold to stay at the end, though, so going to be a little low on resources for the moment.
Oh, and now Ryguy in Rimmildar.
And looky here, on the other side of the swamp, we have all of the towns, including Hawksness.
And, of course, Breckenary.
Well, the good news for Jackimus here is he didn't make it to 100 gold to stay at the inn in Cantlin, but he definitely had the 6 gold to stay at the inn in Breckenary. So, for once, a relief having found.
Yep, sometimes if you can't stay at the Ritz Cantlin, you gotta pony up for the Motel 6.
And MisterHomes has found his way to Garrenham now, so we'll be seeing some exploration on the other continent by MisterHomes as well, possibly.
And in the Vanilla Stones of Sunlight Cave, we have some big bucks.
Well, there's that gold that Jackimus needed.
So Ryguy up to level 10 now, as is Betastrep. And there's the Herb, Dragon Scale, or no, Fighter's Ring, rather, and Herb.
And I bet Jackimus most likely already has that Fighter's Ring equipped as well.
And there's the confirmation of Swamp Cave South. And
we have a rather weak werewolf here hiding in Hawksness, only hitting for 2 the first time and 6 on that second strike. And only 6 on the experience, but it looks like Erdrick's armor was hiding in Hawksness. Or was that the token? Nope, that was the token.
thankfully, I'm going to instant replay on a lot of these here just to make doubly sure.
And that is going to be level 10 for Jackimus as a Droll kicks MisterHomes out of the swamp.
And chat noting and confirming that, yes, that means that the town of Cole, 4 steps south of the Baths, has Erdrick's armor, the best armor in the game.
And we were having no luck at all searching the grave, but we've got a mountain cave being found by Jackimus now. So much to be found on the second continent. It looks like Hawksness, Breckenary, Cantlin, and Mountain Cave.
So big bucks to start off in the top of the mountain cave. 4 more chests to find in the lower end. Got a fairy water. Beta, meanwhile, getting the not so good news about the coordinates. And wow, big level for Ryguy. Level 12. Oh, and Jack gets slept and wrecked by the Magidrake inside the mountain cave.
And it looks like they're guarding both grave and mountain cave here.
So Beta doing a little bit of shopping at the mall, and those are some pretty pricey clothes at $13.71.
Well, I mean, they're, you know, designer clothes.
Almost as designer as the 5,800 and change leather armor.
Well, I mean, Louis Vuitton started, breaking out into armor making. Or was that the Michael Kors leather armor?
Your guess is as good as mine. That's all too rich for my blood. Holmes now looking, and 44-34 for the club. So the value purchases are definitely either the broadsword or the flame sword in terms of weapons, as 211 for the flame sword, much better than the 9,800 that its normal value is. In terms of armor, either the half plate or the full plate at 93 versus 1,000 and 237 versus 3,000. And shields, take your pick. They're all cheap. And to answer the question in chat, Mr. Holmes' avatar is Talon from Dragon Warrior 4.
Oh, yes, and I can only imagine that he'd be having a field day with these rather inexpensive silver shields and then reselling them for their rightful price.
Yeah, I mean, considering a nice profit each time of 14,766, it's not too shabby.
And Live King pointing out that 3 of the 4 are actually using Dragon Warrior 4 sprites. We have Elena on Betastrep and Healy on ryguy.
And if you want to see all of the sprites that can be utilized as you play the randomized version of Dragon Warrior, well, you can do so utilizing the link in the Twitch chat. You can download the randomizer, and if you want to race up against some of the great players that are all throughout here and kind of improve and hone your skills, you can join the Discord for Dragon Warrior Randomizer.
And Mr. Holmes was trying to make his way through Hawksness, but those Magidrakis are they're just not having any.
Now, those points that you were referencing earlier, I have a feeling that Magidraki's going to garner quite a few of them. All right, so back in the mountain cave, we've got big bucks for Jack as well as an herb and one more chest to look through.
And ryguy is getting some shopping done as well in Caitlin, having found their way through Garenham and gone through the Swamp Cave. And we'll be getting the bad news as
well. That Wombo combo is, or at least the combo of sleep, certainly being blocked here. Magidraki's with a lot of defense here. At least a lot of high defense, so 3 at a time.
And we have Betastrep back in the grave and takes out a blue dragon for looks like 2 levels, level 13, getting quite a few nice stats on level 13, and ryguy also on level 13.
And a set of wings in the mountain cave. So the mountain cave, not quite all that fruit. So yeah, a couple of gold chests, an herb, fairy water, and a set of wings.
And looking like we'll be needing to go ahead and dive that grave as we're missing, well, everything except for the token for those who have completed Hawksness.
And Betastrep going to take the death on out of there. So Yeah, the silver harp still to be found, as well as the stones of sunlight, and only 3 treasure chests left outside of Sharlock that 2 of them have to contain. So we either have to go deep into Garen's grave and or the tablet cave.
And we have one more cave being found over here on Jackimus this side, and I believe that's going to be the tablet cave.
So access to a free treasure chest here, so this will answer at least one of our questions.
And we did also see Sharlock being found by Jackimus as well, so we at least know the location of that. And meanwhile, Betastrep is determined to do the grave, and I missed what Jackimus just...
Jack picks up the harp.
So tablet cave is required. So how deep of a dive into the grave will be required?
Yeah, so tablet cave required and Garen's grave required. It's a matter of, as you said, how deep does the grave go? And Lavkian, you are correct in chat that yes, the stones of sunlight are either going to be in one of the 2 deep chests in Garen's grave, as we have gold, and fairy water up top. But the only 2 treasure chests not in the overworld are deep in.
And Linkforce pointing out that means that the sword and or the necklace will be found in Sharlock, since we will have only one other chest left to search here, and we know or 2 chests left to search here, and we know one of them is going to be stone.
And Jack has acquired Erdrick's armor.
And also we'll be acquiring the Staff of Rain, as that shrine is right next door to Cult.
So now a huge exploration advantage here for Jackimus.
And he knows he has to go to the grave, so he is making a beeline in the direction of the grave, it looks like.
Beta, meanwhile, working down and dealing with a Droll Magi in the process here.
Meanwhile, Ryguy dealing with these rather annoying Magidrakies and trying to get out of Hawksness at this point. Look.
And there's the stones midway in the grave. Now, do you go deeper in? See if perhaps Erdrick's sword is down there?
Yeah, that's a tough gamble to make, because you have so many other chests to search in Sharlock, and it is short Sharlock, so it doesn't take you long to get to the chest. We're not seeing an outside being cast, so I think Betastrep is going to go ahead and look for it, and yep, by that movement, he certainly is.
Well, in Betastrep's case, having found the stones, Beta still doesn't have the silver harp, doesn't have Erdrick's token, so any of those might still be in that deep chest. So it certainly is to Beta's advantage to continue the search. The question will be whether Jack opts to do that search, and if it's, let's say, Erdrick's sword, well, that's 12 attack power that'll be lost compared to the flame sword that Jack currently has.
Yeah, this is true. The fact that it is advantage to Betastrep not having found it. Oh, and it's just a cursed belt.
Cursed belt.
So advantage to Jackimus if he goes ahead and just outsides after collecting the stones here. And MisterHomes trying once again to get through Hawksness.
And up to NG, getting the advantage and pointing out that means that we do get to play the 25,000 gold pyramid.
And looks like Jackimus is going to do the due diligence and go ahead and check for sword in the bottom of the grave as well.
Now, what I mean by the pyramid game is that there are 7 treasure chests inside of Charlotte Castle, and the guessing is to which one will contain Erdrick's sword. Now, the first 6 chests that are in Charlotte are in a pyramid-type shape, almost like the old Dick Clark game show from back in the day, or the current Michael Strahan game show for those a little more recent to the realm. And going back to that Dick Clark realm, well, because I'm a little bit more old school like that, we have the 6 values of the chests. We kind of go based on that old winner's circle format of 50 for bottom left, 100 for bottom middle, 150 for bottom right, 200 for middle left, 250 for middle right, and 300 for the top. And yes, CD Improv, there is a recent, I believe ABC does the new pyramid with Michael Strahan, the former NFL player, as the host. And Mr. Holmes trying to get away from a wyvern and gets double DL2 breathed.
And Jackimus now with the rainbow drop, but I don't think we're quite stat-wise ready to go into Sherlock, but we'll see what decisions he decides to make.
So Beta now making some more key purchases in Rimeldar. And Ryguy attempting to not be slept and wrecked by this Magdraki and gets the stop spell on. As Ryguy finishing off the mountain cave and getting a set of wings. As we have a brief pause in the action here, I want to send some thanks to our folks behind the scenes here, CD Improv for taking care of the restreaming here tonight on Randomania, and Archfield Monk with the tracking. So Holmes taking a death to one of the jerk birds. I believe that was the Magi Wyvern. Not too far away from level 10. But it looks like, yeah, after all these quick, fast, and furious levels, level 13 to level 14 seeming to be a bit problematic.
And Jackimus looked like he was checking the swamp tile there to see if, maybe it might prove to be a good grind spot. But looks like it did seem like, at least where Ryguy and MisterHomes, ghosts were actually being rather prevalent in Hawksnest. So even if the tile's not a good grind spot. If you can consistently get Ghost in side Hawksness by walking back and forth on the desert tiles, it could still end up being a good grind area.
Yeah, they're pretty easy to hit, and they garner 250 experience apiece, just 5 off of the max.
And Ryguy has found the Tablet Cave and collected their Silver Harp. And right after that, we have Betastrep collecting their token from Hawksness. Actually, Jackimus here looks like he's going to go get him an Energic Sword and maybe even check the tile before the Dragon Lord. Since it's short Sharlock, it doesn't take much to get in and check the...
Oh, we see we've got MisterHomes inside of Sherlock here, and now's the last chance to get your guesses in. What chest will Erdrick's Sword be in? And Sayriu X asking in chat, is there an outright leader? I would say Jackimus has a pretty good advantage at this point.
Well, we get a Death Necklace pickup, and middle left and top left is the sword.
All right, so bragging rights for Lavkian. Meanwhile, Erdrick's token over on Ryguy's side.
I believe that was the armor, unless you can wear a token. No, I suppose you could wear the token, it just wouldn't cover much.
Ah, yes, I had my Hawksness and Cole spots flipped.
And a Staff of Rain being collected. And that means Ryguy knows exactly where to locate the stones at.
So Holmes now in the mountain cave, as is Betastrep. And Jackimus is... Well, Jack has 100 MP. I don't know if Jack's just fighting for information or maybe going to give it a go here against the Dragon Lord.
And so far, we've seen the Magic Wyverns, the Rogue Scorpions, which aren't hitting for a whole lot, and Drolls, which definitely don't hit for much, so nothing really too deadly being found so far here in Could perhaps be hoping that the next level's not that far away and has the stats we need, but we can see over on Ryguy's side at level 14, not...
It looks like somewhere between 39.19 and 42.54, there is the level 14 gain.
And we have a green dragon for the spike tile before Dragon Lord here. And Jackimus doing the walk of healing here in front of Dragon Lord. Looks like might actually be going for it. Hoping for maybe a low health Dragon Lord.
Well, yes, the Dragon Lord certainly has a really different scenario here in the Chaos mode. Whereas in the vanilla version of the game, the Dragon Lord's second form has 130 hit points. In standard Dragon Warrior Randomizer, there's a range of 150 to 165. But here in Chaos, well, it could be anywhere between 100 to 230 hit points and can have either the spell of Sleep or Heal. And there is level 14 for Jack.
And he's going to give a talking to the Dragon Lord here. Let's see what the Dragon Lord can do. Well, it can breathe fire on you. That hurts quite a bit.
So Dragon Lord 2 breath on Dragon Lord 1.
He, however, doesn't punch you for a ton, but he seems to be quite dodgy. I always knew he was a dodgy character.
Well, here we go to DL2. They're going to start by throwing a stop spell, but it doesn't have an effect. And try for another one here. Just 9 heal mores now, and he hits the stop spell.
That could be big for him if Dragon Lord 2 happens to have heal and is on a low health. But not a lot of healing resources left here.
Yeah, with that 124 attack power, has an attack range of 6 to 12, and he's going for the YOLO hurt more strats. Misses a second time. Has to use another heal more. And Jackimus falls to the Dragon Lord. And to answer your question in chat, MDI asking, DL2 doesn't have to have healer sleep. No, it can, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it does. So it could just attack and have its DL2 breath.
And a suggestion from Up to NG that if spells have been blocked, it would possibly mean that he has spells. I think we had actually much debate about that during the Chaos tournament. If I remember correctly, we did actually find out that you can block spells even if there are no spells to be blocked. And we have a rainbow drop being acquired by Ryguy. And meanwhile, Betastrep is getting to see Charlotte. And MisterHomes is fighting green dragons in a cave somewhere, but not sure what cave he's in at the moment. I would assume probably the grave, though, since he does have stones on him, right?
For those just joining us here, as we are about an hour into this seed here, question being asked, what happened with Mr. Holmes? Holmes had a bit of a difficult time taking out the first enemy of the game. So trailing a little bit behind our other runners, Jackimus with the lead at the moment here in terms of exploration, although the other runners are catching up after Jackimus took a death to Dragon Lord 2. Yes, early on in the seed, there were While the wet noodle was what looks to have been the wizard, and that seemed to be what Holmes was going for, some lengthier battles by our other runners to take on and out a Demon Knight, as well as a Drakema and a Metal Scorpion, respectively, propelled them to an early start. And with Hurtmore rather at level 4, that just furthered the lead in the early part of the game. And now Betastrep with Erdrick's armor.
And Mr. Holmes will be picking up his rainbow drop here in just a moment. So almost all 4 runners are going to be ready for Sharlock, other than having the levels to take out the Dragon Lord, as Betastrep is picking up their Staff of Rain and will most certainly be heading straight back to the castle to go ahead and get their rainbow.
So now it's a matter of the most efficient grind spot.
And Jackimus looks to be going directly back to Sharlock here. Possibly going to grind on the green dragons that were on the spike tile. I'm not positive on how much experience they gave.
It wasn't all that great. I think it was 58 maybe.
Yeah, probably not the grind to be here. Let's see. Rogue Scorpions, Magiwyvern, and Droll were the other 3 enemies to be found here, but I don't remember any of them being all that helpful in experience.
Now, you did mention earlier on about in Hawksness there were the ghosts. That might be the way to go if they're able to spawn in a fairly frequent clip.
Drolls aren't too bad. They're worth 108, so if you can grind away on the Drolls efficiently enough, you could potentially get the level you need here in Charlotte.
I believe this is going to do it, as Chad had mentioned that 5422 was the number. 1 power, 5 speed, 7 hit points, and 15 magic points.
Well, that certainly won't do it for taking on the Dragon Lord anyway.
And Holmes now going to explore if the Droll will let him here.
Yeah, not quite being at the same level that Jackimus was. Not really able to do a ton of damage to the Drolls to be able to take them out, and taking a ton of damage actually as well.
So the bottom chest, we've got Herb, we've got Wings, and we've got Big Bucks.
And it looks like we'll never get to see what that vanilla chest held. And meanwhile, Ryguy kind of high-fiving Mr. Holmes there, as they're both on the same chest in the... Jackimus is going to make another go at it, though, with the Dragon Lord here. And Dragon Lord 1 is just being mean with all the dodge. And goes for an instant hurt more. So looks like Jackimus is bound and determined to take out the Dragon Lord with her. I suppose if you can land 1 hurt more and the health is low enough, then you should be able to relatively easily take it.
We will see, as I'm a little hesitant to see if 15 is enough here. And after doing some calculations and process of elimination, the vanilla chest is a torch. And a question in chat, what are the odds of hitting the Hurt More on the Dragon Lord 2? It's a 1 in 16 chance, just a little over 6%.
Hey, we saw a hit for 61, but I think it's going to be a little too late at this point.
Yep, somebody get Johnny Mathis and Denise Williams, as it's too much, too little, too late.
Yeah, if he could have landed that Hurt More a little early on and had the rest of the resources left over for swinging, it's entirely possible that the Dragon Lord could be a weak Dragon Lord 2 and be taken. And Betastrep now getting their sword, and Ryguy also going after the Dragon Lord. What in the world are our runners thinking? They're all throwing themselves at the Dragon Lord like they just want it to be over.
And for Jack, not that far to level 16. I think it said only 346. So this should be, by the time he gets to Charlotte Castle, should probably have level 16 in tow.
MisterHomes can find himself a decent grind location. This could certainly give him the time needed to be able to catch up.
Well, Holmes up to level 13 already.
Wow, Ryguy managed to run away from Dragon Lord 1. And we see why, because he had heal more.
Oh, wow. So Dragon Lord 1 with Dragon Lord 2 breath and heal more.
Well, that is information that Jackimus does not have, seeing as how it looks like every time he's gone for Dragon Lord 1, he's been able to take it out without a heal more.
And Jack, meanwhile, trying to go on the RLH strats, the run like heck strats.
Yeah, those Magic Wyverns are having none of that, though.
And burning a heal more here, so as long as no other hit points or no other magic points rather being used here, 15 heal mores. Or a lot less heal mores and some YOLO hurt mores.
At 120 MP, that's certainly a fair amount of heal mores. It's 15 that he has right now.
Now, MisterHomes working on a grind here in the desert, taking on these metal scorpions that he's two-shotting for 165 experience apiece.
And they're showing up rather quickly for him, too.
So only trailing the experience leader Jackimus by now just a little under 2,000 experience, but trailing the others, Betastrep by about 1,600, and wanting nothing to do with the Armored Knight.
And Betastrep gonna give the Dragon Lord the old college try as well. I mean, I can understand with it being Chaos, perhaps wanting to see if maybe he, punches you for a ton of bricks like usual, as we've seen it happen in Chaos plenty enough times, but
All right, so he learns that the Droll Magi's aren't all that great, but a combination, Mr. Holmes realizing, of Star Wyverns and Metal Scorpions doing 100+ experience each. Not too shabby, as now Betastrep is on the Dragon Lord, and Jackimus walk healing to give it another go here.
Each one of these attempts that Jackimus makes on the Dragon Lord is just giving Betastrep, Ryguy, and Mr. Holmes more time to catch up and gain more levels, along with Ryguy and Betastrep making attempts on the Dragon Lord, giving Mr. Holmes even more time for him to catch up as well, and doing so quite rapid. Hoo boy, look at the 10 power increase.
10-2-0, and I didn't see the last stat there, but
looks like 1 was the MP increase. That could certainly do it for Jackimus at level 16.
well, we will see, as now he gets called a fool by the Dragon Lord after being offered half the world and declining it. And there's the heal more.
And now that he's got ample power to overpower Dragon Lord 1, he starts seeing the heal mores come out. Well, now all he needs to hope for is that low HP Dragon Lord 2. If he's got anything close to the 200 range, I don't think our current resources are going to be enough.
Well, he's already hit for 25. Still 11 heal mores to go. Now up to 36. Gonna go on 47.
Ooh.
Oh, and the gamble pays off.
I think Jackimus knows that with his current resources, if it's a high HP Dragon Lord 2, some risks might be needed. So he's going.
So I believe up to 71. My count may be off by 1 or 2 here. Now up to 85. $97 now. So the next attack could theoretically be the last one, as it has a range anywhere from 100 to 230. So now up to 112. Still has 5 more heal mores to go. 126. $139. Up to 152. That can go all the way up to 230 potentially. 169.
We're above the vanilla levels of health and getting close to our last bit of resources.
And he hits 180, and 180 is going to do it.
I have to imagine Jackimus was starting to sweat a little bit there as he was down to his last heal more.
So, ladies and gentlemen in chat, get out your GGs for Jackimus, who's going to take first place in a huge 5 points with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 14 minutes, and 34 seconds.
And now seeing those dot duns coming in, it kind of makes you wonder here on both ryguy and betastrep side is they see what level 15 has to offer. So they have to be wondering, is 16 all that there is? Is that going to be it? And then on MisterHomes' side, he has to be feeling behind here with the slow start that he had. So he could be wondering, what's taking everybody else so long? What level do I need to get to? Or what does Dragon Lord have in store for me?
So I'm doing some quick unofficial calculations here as far as the standings in the league, but I believe with that victory, I'm not 100% sure, but I think that puts Jack in the around the 4 seed here of the top 16. As I don't believe any of the other runners can catch him with 20 points. So I believe that will cement Game Boy F9 as the 3 seed and vault Jackimus up to the 4 seed, I believe. And now we have ryguy working on Dragon Lord 2. And I'm being told that we will be hearing from our Victor Jackimus. He'll be coming into the Discord momentarily for a post-race interview. And almost right on cue, there is Jackimus joining us here in the Discord. Congratulations and GG.
Thanks. I played a game.
You did. You played a game and you played it well.
Well, there's one thing I could have done that I'm going to remember for future Chaos Seeds. I don't play a lot of Chaos, but not knowing how much experience you need to level up is a little detrimentary at times, like when you're trying to level up in front of the final boss.
Yeah, without acquiring the princess and relying on death warping and having the king tell you, it certainly is a bit of a challenge.
Yeah, like when I had that second failed attempt at level 15 there, if I knew I was 400 points away, I clearly would have gotten the level before trying, so. But hey, I still won, so I guess it all works out in the end, but, learn stuff for next time and all that.
Exactly, as without having all the official totals here, that definitely clinches you into one of the top 16, and I believe has you as the 4 seed.
Hey, that's pretty cool. 4 is a good number. That's how many people are in this race. It was also worn by the legendary Bobby Orr. I'm okay with number 4.
Yeah, amazing how this stuff works out.
How's everyone else doing there?
Yeah, doing pretty good. I was trying to think of another number 4, and the first one that comes to my mind being a Philadelphian is the Phillies outfielder Lenny Dykstra, for better or worse.
That is a very strange place to go with the number 4 if you're on.
Well, it was the first one that I could think of. I'm sure there are other better ones, but I don't know. I've been calling a race here. These are things that I don't think of. MisterHomes taking a death to the second form of the Dragon Lord, as betastrep now working on the first form of the Dragon Lord and finding out about the heal more.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to heal yourself a little bit more. When heal isn't enough.
So I had to step away for a moment, so I'm not quite sure if Furon had a chance of asking you this, Jackimus, but you were throwing yourself at the Dragon Lord back to back.
Yep. And
was there any particular reason? Were you just kind of hoping for the low HP Dragon Lord 2, or hoping that maybe you get the level needed on the way, which you did happen to do at 16, being the level that was necessary?
well, the thing is, I had no idea how many experience I needed to a next level there. So it's, well, if I'm gonna go back to the king to see how much I need, so I know where I want to be leveling up right now. Might as well just see what the Dragon Lord does the first time, and the second time it's like, well, I know the first form is going to eat a bit of magic to get through probably, but I still don't know if I'm like 4,000 away and I should go fight the Droll for most of that, or if I'm 5 kills away, which I basically was that time. So it's like, yeah, I'll just try it again. Maybe I get lucky with Hurt more, maybe I don't, whatever. Need to know the X. As I was saying earlier, I'll be probably wanting to get the old GPS next time I play Chaos, just so I don't have to worry about I don't know how much I need for a level.
Yeah, that is definitely one of the better functions of the princess, and when it comes to Chaos, especially this time around, seeing as how there was no coordinates.
Yeah, I never really even thought about using it for that purpose until it got to the point where it's like, what would have been really handy right now, and I was right there like 20 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, well, the thing is it was a fair bit out of the way to get to the swamp cave and then have to return back to the castle to return her, just to have the ability to know, without talking to the king, what experience was needed.
Nah, I don't think so. We had spells to teleport us around. We had Pell, which got most things off our back. It's maybe like a 30-second side trip. It would have saved me about 10 minutes, so, that's all.
Well, this is true. You do always have to weigh, is it worth the time it takes to get her versus not knowing? What were your thoughts on where you would end up grinding if, it did become necessary that it was a long grind in order to take on the Dragon Lord?
Just for the guarantee of constant experience, it would have been that Droll down in the cave where you find the princess. Like, the desert at the starting area was full of pretty nice enemies you could one-shot, but they're all running away, and encounters aren't, every 2 steps, so it's like, could work out, could maybe not. I'd just take the standard, even though 100 fight for repeatable tile is outstanding, when I think like the standard in non-chaos averages around like a 50 or so.
And we have betastrep finishing up here, and is going to finish in second place with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 23 minutes, and 52 seconds.
Congratulations to that there betastrap. I wonder what happened to the alpha strap.
I see what you did there.
What did I do? Like, I'm very, very, very concerned and confused right now.
Well, see, the alpha strap got out of its testing phases, so...
Yeah, Chad is saying that apparently Alpha Strep was killed by dragons.
Yeah, I'd believe that. Hey, did anyone ever find a blue dragon? I think that's the only enemy I didn't see.
I remember them being encountered a couple of times, but I don't recall if they were worth encountering or where.
So probably not very important then.
Let's take a look. Actually, blue dragons were quite worth finding if you could. 6 HP and 179 experience for each one you take.
That's some pretty decent numbers.
And we've got Ryguy finishing in third, an official SRL time of 1 hour, 26 minutes, and 6 seconds.
Good job, Rye Guy. He's a guy who is also named Rye. I could go for some rye right about now.
Rye for you, rye for me.
So that'll put him in the mix with the 16 points. That's going to be that's where some of the calculations with all that Buckles stuff that I don't know anything about is going to go on.
No one likes that Buckles kid. Terrible pitcher.
However, it looks like Beta is more than likely clinching the 5 seed with that victory there, with that second place finish there. And betastrep with some rather negative words toward the Magidrakies and Red Dragons of this season.
If he had negative words, I didn't hear them. Or is he in the race of Mahoozle?
Is in the Twitch chat, as he won't be joining us in the audio form of things. The exact quote is, Magidrakies and Red Dragons can all go die in a fire.
Red dragons didn't look all that painful.
They weren't that bad. The Magidrakies were pretty nasty early on. I'm not going to argue that one.
Fairly high defense on the red dragon, so I guess hard to run from and hard to physical. And then 15, 16 hurt resistance, so you couldn't really hurt them.
You had to hurt them with your pointy thing.
So I guess overall they were just a little bit difficult to damage and run. The Magidrakies, on the other hand, they were certainly a nuisance. Hard to physical them, a lot of health, like to sleep.
Yeah, it was a seed. It was good times. So is everyone all finished the race now?
Just about. MisterHomes is working on Dragon Lord 2, but has gone in at level 15. So it is a bit of a roll of the dice here.
Oh yeah, MisterHomes was in this race. I finally beat that guy. That's way better than winning.
And Chad asking, I believe this is his second venture into the Dragon Lord, as a little bit of a slow start for MisterHomes, having trouble getting the first kill. It turns out that the wet noodle of the seed was none other than the Wizard. And it looks like also joining us here in the Discord is Ryguy. GG's, Ryguy.
Thank you.
Hello, guy who is named Rye.
Hello, guy who's named Jack.
Yeah, that's not my name.
That's close enough.
Ah, so you just jacked the name from someone else.
No, some other guy jacked the name from. I'm only JackimusWedge on Twitch because some miserable other guy, registered Jack and never used it. I don't like it.
I can see how that would be problematic. And MisterHomes just finishing up here in fourth place in official SRL time, 90 minutes and 21 seconds. Now, I know there were some questions in chat regarding the seedings and placings, and it looks like, as mentioned earlier, that the Buckles is going to come into play, as there is a rather large cluster of individuals with the 16-point totals. So as far as the tiebreakers, that's where a lot of that is going to come to play.
Wait, did the line move up to 16? I thought it was at 15.
Well, there are a lot of people who garnered 16, so I don't know if the official cutoff is necessarily going to be 15, but for the moment, as I'm looking at the numbers here, so as far as the top 16 here, just kind of quickly counting things here, so you definitely have your top 4 of High Spirits, Scorpion, Game Boy, and Jack. They all have 20 or higher points. Betastrep at 19 points looks to be in 5th. Tristal, for the moment, is in 6th at 18 points, and then that's where things get a little clustered. 7th and 8th, you've got Tilo and Melee Wizard with 17 points, and for the moment, you have 5 individuals with 16 points in Will Wagner Music, also Jay Coper, Amazing Toaster, MisterHomes, and Ryguy. So with one more race left to play between the group, I believe that's group 3, with Captain Green, Basp, Schubinator, and Brysolf, and those having 13 and 12 points respectively. That will at least put one other person in the, there'll at least be one other person with at least 17 points. So that 16 looks to be safely in, but 15, that's where you may want to sweat a little based on how the totals are going here.
Yeah, I don't know what Buckholz is, but I'm glad mine is very high.
Yeah, Game Boy F9, one of the admins, is he's the one with all those numbers, although somebody else who certainly is known for crunching a lot of numbers would be none other than MisterHomes, and he's joining us here in the Discord chat as well. GG's, MisterHomes.
Hey there, thanks a lot. That was, I don't know. I don't think I played particularly bad, but it was frustrating because I couldn't find anything good to fight. That was just the story of my seed.
Yeah, the start. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, to give kind of an outsider analysis, as far as the first enemy kill, all 4 of you had 4 different enemies that you took out to get your first kill. I think one was a wizard, one was a demon knight, one was a Drakima, and oh goodness, it was so long ago now. What was the 4th one? Ryu, you help me out on this?
I think it was a metal scorpion, but I could be wrong.
Who actually killed a Drakima? They had a lot of health, didn't they? They had like 60 health or something, I swear.
The Drakima only had 11 hit points, and it gave 130 experience.
Well, I think I ran away from one after doing like 10 then. Because after I realized it wasn't the noodle, then like you don't know if it's gonna have 11 hit points or 111 hit points. So it looks like I ran away just at like the wrong time, otherwise I would have had that really early. But I don't think that would have changed much for me.
And Ryu, you're correct, yes. It was Betastrep who went toe-to-toe for a very, very, very long time with a Metal Scorpion that had 42 hit points, and thanks to those heals at level 1, that certainly allowed to get the 165 to get Betastrep going.
That's an interesting first kill.
My Gosh, yeah, I noticed like a bunch of enemies with tons of HP and high agility. I was just run blocked the whole time. I couldn't kill anything other than demon.
So what did you guys grind on once you got hurt more? I couldn't find anything.
I don't think I've ever had that many Hurtmores miss. That must have been a record.
It
Yeah, same
wasn't
here.
particularly useful for the higher experience monsters outside of a couple that you'd find like in the desert right outside the start. Experience wasn't flowing particularly great on this one.
I mean, I hurt more Ghost a lot, but that was just wandering around.
Yeah, ghosts were definitely. Ghosts. Those were. Was it that desert southeast that had that little one-tile land path?
Oh, so the one with the red dragons and the red slimes and the blue slimes?
Yeah, the rest of the zone was bad there.
Yeah, so it wasn't really reliable for grinding at all. Like, I think I saw one ghost, and I was like, oh, great, let's find some more, and then there's just nothing else to kill there. And I just ended up fighting metal scorpions and star wyverns forever. So, I was just
The
wondering if
world
there's
map
some
was
miracle
not as
place.
haunted as any of us wanted it to be, I'm sure. Those ghosts were fantastic.
Oh, I mean, I didn't grind there. I just died a lot, and walking out of that little path, I killed a bunch of ghosts on the way.
If you were fortunate enough to find them, they were worth it for that 250 experience.
Yeah, I figured I would go and explore and try and find stuff, and I did get everything, but I still couldn't find anything good to kill with all my stuff, so it was like I was hardly able to take advantage of it. It just really sucked.
I think Jackimus definitely had the earliest of advantages, as Jackimus found Remolder fairly early on and was able to get the silver shield, a half plate, and I believe a hand axe is what was found early on.
Yeah, I
That
never
was,
even
that
found
was my
Moldar.
initial loadout. There were some incremental upgrades whenever I found other towns, but it was nice to have gear. It was
So
maybe
where was
15 minutes
Drimoldar?
in? Grimaldar? It was like, it was around the other side of that wall of mountains where the grave was.
Okay, I didn't get quite out that far, and I just went through Garenham, which was, by the sounds of it, even better equipment-wise. So it also had a silver shield, and it had full plate and a broadsword. But I don't think I found that till about 20 minutes.
Yeah, that early exploration into Rimeldar, just 412 gold got the hand axe, the half plate, and the silver shield, and that was enough to get things rolling in that regard.
And unfortunately, the treasury, even though you got to start with keys from the get-go, so you didn't have to find Rimeldar to get your keys, it only held more keys and some torches, so kind of a zonk of a treasury.
Oh, level 1 key grind. Those are the best.
Yeah, it was actually kind of fun watching this. Like, oh, torch. Oh, another torch. Wait a minute, that's not a torch. That's not a torch at all.
I don't know, I really like my torches too. I was pretty happy with that. Torches and keys, man. Come on.
Yeah, I didn't go into the treasury until like 5 minutes in. Dumb.
You missed out on some excellent torches.
Well, I gotta say, I was pretty happy when there was nothing useful in there, because like, oh yeah, I could have done this a while ago.
I don't really have much else to add about this. Like, don't know what I could have done differently, but just the way it rolled this time.
It's chaos, man. It's completely wild and unpredictable. Everyone rolls dice at each other, and eventually someone kills the Dragon Lord. So, yeah. Good race, all you guys. I had me a good time. And I guess we'll see all of you guys next week.
Alright, peace out.
Good
Alright,
game,
later,
Jack.
Putters. Thank you. Let's go, Bruins!
Oh my gosh.
He's gonna say that every single time he's interviewed.
Yep, that is his signature sign-off. That is for sure. So yeah, we don't have all of the specifics yet, although this certainly makes things very interesting for this coming Sunday. Yes, the final of the regular season races. It'll be this Sunday, March 3rd at 5 p.m. Eastern, I believe. Little I don't know, grooving on a Sunday afternoon, almost like the Rascals song of the same name. And that's going to be Captain Green 7 taking on Bass 33, Schubinator, and Brysolf. They have 13, 13, 12, and 12 points respectively. So a first place finish will clinch a playoff spot. And we'll see how the others shake out. And again, those with 15 points might be sweating a little bit based on the way that the totals are going on here. So a lot still to be determined. And we'll find out more heading into this coming Sunday as far as how everything shakes out. And then starting Monday, we'll have the 4 playoff races for week 6 of the league. And that will have a completely, well, not totally different set here, but things certainly changing up just a little bit.
I know for those who are, possibly getting tired of the Chaos Act, aka Mr. Holmes, as I know it is certainly not his favorite at all, it'll be a bit of a relief.
Well, I guess it depends on what you call relief, in that well, as far as the first playoff round, it'll actually be, well, it'll be a little bit more of a test of endurance, as for the playoffs starting this Monday, the first playoff round will be standard chaos. So it'll just be, so you'll have the regular fast experience, you'll have the long Charlock, as well as chaos mode. So that's going to test our test our runners' mettle, to say the least.
That's why I said a bit of a relief. We saw some other flags, a little earlier on, where the experience was not so fast.
Yeah, week 7 will be even more interesting, and that'll definitely be where the salt will be, as it'll be standard Dragon Warrior randomizer, but normal experience. So we're kicking it vanilla old school as far as the numbers. So that's going to take a lot of planning in terms of grinding and things of that nature, but still a lot to go over the course of the next month here in the Dragon Warrior Randomizer League.
I know myself personally, I'm looking forward to the last 2 weeks where we get to finally see some big swamp action.
Yeah, that'll bring a whole nother realm into things in these semifinals and finals, but that is still a few weeks away. But first, we have to see who is going to make the top 16. And while it is mostly figured out, we will have the rest figured out over the course of, well, it'll be figured out tomorrow, and we'll see who clinches with what come Sunday afternoon. Make sure to give our runners a follow, as they all had a heck of a race here for you between Betastrep, MisterHomes, JackimusWedge, and ryguy3745. Also, make sure to show some love to the folks behind the scenes. CD Improv for the restream, Archfield Monk for the tracking, and my broadcast partner, Rhea Station, a blast as always. And if you want to show me some love, I guess you can as well. I'm Ferran Burgundy. And let's say, any last thoughts here before we wrap this all up for tonight?
No, I think that'll just about do it for us.
Alrighty, so we're going to take a respite here from the league for about another 44 hours or so. And until that time, for everybody behind the scenes and in front, I'm Ferran Burgundy saying until then, may your moves be excellent and your seeds stay classy. Good night, everyone.
And we are going to take you on over to Randomania 2, which has a Final Fantasy Randomizer Chaos Rush match going on.